Whyte on TalkSport this week. He popped up on the Whyte and Jordan show, didn't he? And he was talking about the constant back and forth, it seemed, on social media. Lots of contradictory thought processes from different camps as to what direction Anthony Joshua is going in. Anthony Joshua is supposed to be fighting on August the 12th. That's the date that we keep getting told from his promoter, but we have yet to nail down an opponent. Dillian Whyte, we were told, was the front runner, but there's loads of whispers out there that maybe it was a little bit too pricey for that August 12th date. Dillian Whyte came on TalkSport this week and said that's not the case. I accept the deal, whatever the deal is. And Eddie Hearn, after listening to TalkSport, has responded to that and said, okay, contract's in the post. Are you anticipating that fight to materialise in, 6-7 weeks' time?
Well, until the two men actually come at a press conference and formalise it, I have my doubts. But because clearly they were lowballing Dillian Whyte, I think that's the indication he seemed to be having. Yes, he was great on Whyte and Jordan earlier in the week. I'm glad he put his case.
Do you know that? What are the numbers? Do we know the numbers that were offered to Dillian? Do we know?
What you're hearing is a conversation on Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte, the possibility of them fighting or not, after Dillian Whyte came on TalkSport Boxing last week to state his case regarding whether or not Ed Hearn had actually offered him a fight for the August 12th date that Joshua has lined up. So what we're looking at is a review of these men having a discussion. Shout out to TalkSport Boxing. The link for the show would be in the description box. But these two men, Simon Jordan and, not Simon Jordan, Adam Catterall and Gareth A. Davies are having this discussion because once again, Ed Hearn has proven to fool the public when it comes down to what's going on in the heavyweight division with the fighters that he has in his stable and trying to make another fight for Anthony Joshua before the December date that they're looking at with a possible showdown with Deontay Wilder. Now, Whyte came back after I dropped a video last week stating that he hadn't heard from Ed Hearn properly. And there's something to be said about the ethics of Hearn because he's using people and their names and places in the sport, but not necessarily delivering properly. And if you look at it for as it is, a fight between Joshua and Dillian Whyte would be a pretty decent fight, what I'm calling a 50-50 fight. But we have to also pay attention to the fact that Joshua, who's now 25-3 with 22 knockouts, will be taking on, in this instance, if it comes to fruition, Whyte, who is now 29-3 with 19 KOs. Both of them are coming off of a most recent fight with Jermaine Franklin, and both fared totally different in their fights with Franklin. Franklin's name is now abuzz in the heavyweight division as a result of the two fighters' performances against him. But there's something else here that people may not know, and TalkSport covers it. So let's take a listen again to what they're saying about this potential matchup, and after speaking directly to Dillian Whyte about facts and figures.
Well, you and I had a chat about this before we came on, and it's a big fight. It will do numbers. Joshua earns around 10 million a fight with DAZN. This is not a gold or platinum event. It's a mid-ranging event for him. It's not a world title fight. So I imagine it's around the $2 million mark, but it could be even lower. He hasn't looked amazing of late. He got back into winning ways against Jermaine Franklin. He's been out a while. He lost to Tyson Fury badly in April last year.
Dillian.
And we're talking about Dillian. And I think, yes, obviously, because Anthony Joshua's beaten Jermaine Franklin as well, but I think he did a smart thing by coming on. I imagine with all the fighters, they all want to fight each other, but it's what their teams can get for them. So the negotiation has obviously been between his team and Eddie Hearn's team. But, you know, when you look at the options, if we believe that they are heading towards a November or December fight for Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, one we're all anticipating, and that Joshua needs to fight in the summer, and let's look where he's ranked: 3 with the WBC, 3 with the WBA, 4 with the IBF, and 2 with the WBO. He's still way up there. He's probably still the 3rd or 4th best heavyweight in the world. Does he look for an easier opponent in the summer? Lenier Pero, the number 4 WBA, who no one in the British public has probably ever heard of.
Now, you see what they're saying is, though Joshua still maintains a high rating in the WBC, IBF, WBO, and the WBA, they're still looking for an opponent that may not command such a salary as Whyte, and also be if you really want to say it this way, a softer touch. Because as I stated a moment ago, a potential fight between Whyte and Joshua for a second go round will find these two men more evenly matched this second go round than they were when they first faced off years ago. Now, Whyte, even though he'd been stopped a couple of times and AJ has suffered a couple of losses, the thing is, there has not been much growth for AJ. Whyte has fought some pretty decent battles. We have to say it, whether you like the guy or not. But AJ had always been protected by Matchroom. And now they're still trying to protect their brand and how they want to deliver a possible fight before the main fight. But the thing about it is, because AJ has been so iffy, it's going to be difficult to make that type of a fight for him. Dillian Whyte, the people will come to see. They will buy tickets. That's a sellable fight for them, especially in the UK. And with AJ working with a new trainer and Derek James, he needs to get another fight under his belt before facing Wilder so he can really get on one accord with the new trainer. Dillian Whyte is in a position to upset that apple cart. And for those who really watch the sport correctly, they know that this is a possibility. But will he do so? Will he face Joshua? It's really up to Ed Hearn, who is playing the game of games here. And as TalkSport is pointing out, it's something to be considered. Listen in more.
Apart from the boxing nuts out there, does he fight an Otto Wallin? Does he fight an Agit Kabayel? Does he fight someone who it doesn't matter?
Why fight?
Well, because he's got to stay active, in my view. He may not end up fighting, but then we understand they booked the O2 Arena for August the 12th, and they're looking for a fight for him.
I just think that there's...
Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think he'll fight twice this year?
I think we're in a weird situation because everything the noise that comes out of Saudi Arabia kind of distorts the whole situation, doesn't it? And if the money rumours are led to be true, and we are headed in the direction of Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, they can't obviously give a concrete offer until all this summer shenanigans.
As we heard from Amir Abdullah, the head of Skills Challenge last week, who runs that.
So let's say, I mean, this is heavyweight boxing. Crazy things do happen. So at the moment, there is a value on Anthony Joshua to fight in Saudi Arabia against Deontay Wilder. But will that value diminish if he has a less than impressive performance against somebody, or indeed loses against somebody? I think he does.
Well, no, the fight is not there if he loses, in my view, or how he loses.
So why take the risk? Why do a summer fight?
But this week, the WBC are putting pressure on Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz to fight this summer as well. And the ideal thing is that Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder fight this summer. So we've got a mandatory then for the WBC, the winner of that.
Yeah, but that's for Tyson Fury.
For Tyson Fury.
So that would.
But what I'm saying
so if Wilder comes through that's him versus Deontay Wilder 4.
Yeah,
that's not the fight that we want, though, is it?
No, but what I'm saying is that could happen later. That could even happen later. Wilder and Fury 4, which may happen if Fury wants to go on. If he beats Usyk, if he loses to Usyk, who knows what happens there? Maybe they fight again if it's dramatic fighting.
Now, you hear how they're laying it out, right? It really sounds like the heavyweight division is held up by the champions at the top, Usyk and Fury. But the whole thing with Dillian Whyte being mixed in with this, he's a dangerous person for Joshua at this time. Joshua really needs a confidence building situation. But I believe he's beyond that aspect of being built back. I think that he needs to get back into the fray, start fighting the top-notch opposition, and prove his wares. He's been coddled long enough. He needs to fight. Just like Deontay is looking to fight any of the guys, but there are guys who are stalling out, who are stepping away, who are looking in a different direction because they don't want to be made to look bad by Wilder or risk being knocked out by Wilder. It's a conundrum for certain, but at the same time, the heat should be turned up on the two champions, the two titleists who have the belts in their possession, Fury and Usyk. At the end of the day, these two men need to do something. They need to really go ahead and fight one another, and then the rest of the division can begin to shake itself out. It's not going to happen if these two men don't do their part. There are people who are waiting around for title shot opportunities, and there are people who are in contention who would like to make a move but don't know where their next step will be because there's no clarity at the top of the division. One face, one name, one champion would help resolve a lot of this. That would mean the rest are contending against one another and fights could be made against all of the contenders. But again, there are those who want to sit, pat, and wait for an opportunity. What do you think? Should Joshua Whyte 2 happen? A 50-50 fight? And will it upset Matchroom's plans for AJ to face Deontay Wilder late in the year? Think about it. It's something that we have to consider, but it's probably the best fight that can be made for AJ. This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about these two men and the possibilities of them coming together later in August. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.